I'm Shane. I'm here at the Allan Border Field and I'm here to talk about and go through the techniques to become a good slips fieldsman.
Got him! What a massive moment this is!
The key techniques to slips catching, for me personally, is all in my routine and my setup every time the ball's about to be bowled. For me, once I was able to really nail that technique, of being able to have the same routine every single ball, I felt like my movements, my catching ability, really became a lot better and a lot more consistent.
Carberry, I think, leaves it long enough to find the edge. Watson does the rest.
So my routine, initially I used to stand there and just try and concentrate, try and be quite stationary as the ball was bowled, but I felt like my reaction time was a little bit slower. So my general routine, whether it's spin bowling, fast bowling, whether I'm close to the stumps or back, is as the ball's about to be bowled, as a bowler gets into his load up, I take a step forward and then just sort of get into like a split step, which is what tennis players do. It's what fieldsmen do at point and cover to be able to be in a really powerful position to be able to move. So then I feel like when I get into that position, then my hands are ready. I'm nice and loose. I'm not too too uptight and tense.
Outside edge and it flies to first slip.
Everyone's going to be different. I know Mark Waugh, for example, when he fielded in the slips, was very much on the inside and pushed his hands down as a similar routine every single time to make sure he kept low. And then he could sort of move, and he's certainly one of the best slips fieldsmen that's actually ever played in the world.
Got him, he's out, caught slip. That's a good bit of bowling there by Fleming. And once again, Mark Waugh in that situation, taking a catch and making it look so easy.
As the ball is being bowled, a few people do different things. My focus is watching the ball out of the hand. I'm at first slip majority of the time to see the ball out of the hand and then watch it go down the wicket and then past the bat or off the edge of the bat. Some guys, when they move around to second and third slip and even gully, they find it easier to be able to keep their eyes just on the bat area, general area for the ball to go. But I feel my natural movements are easier when I just try and track the ball down the wicket, out of the bowler's hand, and especially at first slip. That's definitely the best way to be able to track the ball to then to be able to react as quick as you can when the ball's actually nicked in your direction.
Gone! Straight down to the throat of first slip.
Catch! Oh, what about that?
So to a spin bowler, Test cricket for example, it's depending how far the ball's turning. If Nathan Lyon's bowling for example, and he's turning the ball into a right-hander, I'm going to stand quite fine because they're going to get finer edges. Whereas a leg spinner like Shane Warne and the ball's turning a bit, I'd naturally go just a little bit wider because the ball normally goes a little bit wider. So I'll do it as Nathan Lyon's bowling to me. I'm quite fine. The keeper's really important to make sure that he feels you're in a good position. So if the ball just goes wide of his gloves, that you can actually, that you're in position to be able to take the catch.
It's gone. That's well bowled and well caught. Drew him forward. Turn to fraction. It's gone.
One of the most important parts to slips catching, but especially when you're up close to the stumps as well, is making sure that you're in your balanced position, whichever you find. For me, it's actually taking a slight step forward, but you have to make sure that you stay nice and low. It's so much easier to be able to just go straight up if you're low than actually be up and then have to go down. So I normally always make sure that my hands are nice and low, my bottom is actually pushing down towards the ground, so my legs are bent, not actually bending with your back, you're actually bending from your legs. So then you can come up, and if the ball's low, you're already down there anyway. So that's a starting point. The slips catching to spinners are very much more reactionary, so it's a great way to practice your natural reactions is actually taking slips catches from a close distance, because you just have to react to what you see. Whereas when you're back further to fast bowling, for example, it's not as much reactionary. You can think about the ball a lot more. You've got time to be able to move. Whereas up close to the spinners, you just have to move your hands and try to just get your hands in the right position. So I find that's a really good way to be able to develop your hand-eye coordination as quick as you can.
Out! Got him!
So to the fast bowlers, the position that I normally stand, depending on who's bowling, and also the conditions where you're at. For example, if I'm fielding in the slips of Mitch Johnson at the Gabba or the Wacker, we stand a long way back, so the ball, you're in position to be able to, so the ball does carry, but it's also not going to go over your head. Places like India, for example, as well, you've got to stand much closer. Even the MCG at times, you've got to stand much closer because the ball doesn't really carry much. It's more of a reaction catch when you're standing closer. So for me at first slip, for example, it is really important to be able to get your gauge of where you stand from the keeper. There are times when the first slip stands quite deep compared to the keeper. I've found with myself and Brad Haddin when we're working really well together, I'm far enough away from him so he feels that he can dive, but I'm not too deep away from him. So I don't feel like I'm in a bit of a pocket compared to second slip, for example. So you feel like you're spread enough, and I'm not too far back from Brad Haddin.
Edge and gone! There it is!
You also need to make sure that when you are standing, whatever slip you are, that your angle of your feet is back at the batsman, because that is where the ball's coming from. You don't want to be standing open like you're facing your feet where the ball's coming from, as in where the bowler's letting the ball go from. You want to be angled at your feet, everything lined up towards where the ball's coming from. The best way to practice, I find it easier to be able to practice a little bit closer than what you normally would field to a fast bowler in a game, because one, it's a bit more of a reaction time and you have to move a little bit quicker. I also find it easier to protect your hands, so I feel like if I'm standing back how I normally would in a game, you can't take as many catches because your hands do get quite sore. So coming up a little bit closer, so it's a bit more reaction, the ball's not coming as hard, but you're still getting that same reaction, also means you can take a lot more catches in practice to try and make sure you don't have too many bruises and bone bruises on your hands as well. So that's also another really important part, to be able to get your workload and get the numbers of catches to be able to improve without then having to go into a game and you've got a lot of bruises over your hands and then you start catching differently.
Catch! This is unbelievable from Australia.
One of the drills that I've felt has really helped me, especially staying low and also using soft hands, is you can just have you and another guy, you and your mate, and all your mate's doing is throwing the ball on the bounce to you. It has to be a decent enough surface, but even if it's not, the ball's sort of actually bouncing up means that you keep your head over the ball, but you're also adjusting to how the ball reacts off the grass. So one thing it does do, if someone's throwing the ball on the bounce, it keeps you really low, but it also means when the ball's thrown in the grass that it makes you have to keep your head over the ball, so you're actually not pulling your head off the ball, so your hands are in line with where the ball's coming. It also means that initially I normally start just straight, so you're just used to giving with the ball. If your hands are a little bit too hard and you're going at the ball will bounce straight out. Whereas if your hands are out and you start giving with the ball and your hands are only going back to give with the ball, then you've got more chance of being able to the ball staying in your hand. So I normally start really straight and just only balls right where my eyes are, just straight over my centre. The next step up is getting someone to throw it both sides, so you have to then give with the ball but also turn your hips and also make sure that your head is over the line of the ball. If wherever your head moves, your head's over the ball, your feet and your hands will be in the right position. If you're only going with your hands and your head stays still very straight, then it means that you're not going to be able to actually give with the ball at the right time, and it normally either you don't go far enough with your hands or you're not giving down the line of the ball. So for me, I find that the best drill to be able to continue to work on my hands without having someone to be able to nick the ball, because then you need three people to be able to do that drill. So just someone throwing on the bounce just in front of you, so it's not too short that you're always up here, but just in the balls, you're catching the ball just here on the bounce, and it means that you really are giving with the ball, and it's immediate feedback straight away to see where you're at. I hope you got a lot out of the tips that I gave you, and yeah, thank you very much for watching.